Pete Hegseth, a combat veteran, political commentator, and now the man in charge of the most powerful military in the world. Now, on paper, it sounds like the perfect resume. A Princeton graduate, an Army National Guard officer with deployments in Iraq, Afghanistan, and Guantanamo Bay, a best-selling author, and a fierce advocate for veterans. But dig a little deeper and things will start to feel a little less reassuring, because Pete Hegseth is not just a military man or TV personality. He's a political warrior, and now he is running the Pentagon. The Secretary of Defense is supposed to be a leader with deep knowledge of military operations, strategy, and management. Someone who can handle a budget of nearly $1 trillion, oversee millions of service members, and handle global conflicts with wisdom and restraint. Hegseth, on the other hand, has never led an organization larger than a small nonprofit, has never been responsible for large-scale strategic military planning, and has spent most of his post-military career as a media personality. But sure, why not put him in charge? I mean, it's not like the world is teetering on the edge of multiple international crises or anything like that. Before we get into that, though, let's go back to who Pete Hegseth actually is. He served in the Army National Guard, rising to the rank of Major, which is a respectable achievement, no doubt. He deployed to combat zones, earned 2 Bronze Stars, and was seen as a strong advocate for veterans. But his military career was not exactly at the level of those who typically lead the Department of Defense. Unlike past defense secretaries who held high-ranking positions in military leadership, served as 4-star generals, or had extensive experience in defense policy, Hegseth's biggest leadership roles have been, well, in television. After his military service, he became the executive director of Concerned Veterans for America, which is a conservative advocacy group with strong ties to right-wing politics and Koch-backed initiatives. The organization pushed for privatizing the Department of Veteran Affairs and was deeply involved in lobbying efforts that aligned more with political agendas than actual veteran support. His work there made him a darling of the conservative movement, leading to his rise as a Fox News personality. And that is where things really took off for him. As a Fox News commentator, Hegseth built his brand as a fierce critique of woke culture in the military. He became an advocate for strong nationalism and an unrelenting supporter of Donald Trump. He was not just a news anchor, he was a soldier in the ideological war against what he called the leftist takeover of the armed forces. Hegseth constantly pushed the idea that the military had become too politically correct, too soft, and was too distracted by diversity and inclusion efforts instead of focusing on warfighting. It made him wildly popular in certain circles and deeply concerning to others. And now, here we are, Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, a man with zero experience in running a massive organization, no background in military strategy at the highest levels, and whose biggest qualifications seem to be his loyalty to Trump and his ability to deliver fiery monologues on cable news. What could possibly go wrong? Alright, let's talk about the controversies, because there are plenty. First, his personal life. Hegseth has been accused of infidelity, has had public marital scandals, and has faced allegations of misconduct. His critics say he lacks the discipline and character expected of someone leading the US military. Then there are the financial scandals. His time at CVA and other veteran organizations has been questioned due to allegations of mismanagement and wasted funds. And of course, there is the drinking. Multiple sources, including his own past colleagues, have talked about his alcohol-related issues. But somehow, none of this mattered when he was appointed. Because at the end of the day, what mattered more than experience, credibility, or leadership skills was his loyalty to Trump and his willingness to fight against wokeness in the military. Now, to be fair, some people actually love this appointment. They see Hegseth as a necessary disruptor, someone who will shake up the Pentagon and restore a tougher, more focused military. They argue that career politicians and bureaucrats have made the military weak and unfocused, and that Hegseth represents a return to traditional values, discipline, and strength. Others, however, are absolutely horrified. They see this as an ideological appointment rather than a strategic one, where someone with little experience is put in charge of one of the most critical positions in government simply because he says the right things on TV. They worry that Hegseth's lack of experience will lead to disastrous military decisions, mismanagement of resources, and a dangerous shift towards politicizing the armed forces. And let's not forget his views on war and conflict. Hegseth has been one of the most hawkish voices in conservative media. He has often advocated for aggressive military action and a straightforward and strict approach to foreign policy. With tensions rising between major global powers, some fear that his instinct will be to escalate conflicts rather than to de-escalate them. At the end of the day, the role of Secretary of Defense is not a game, and it is not a TV segment. It is the real deal. The job of ensuring America's national security, overseeing military operations, and making decisions that could impact the world for generations. And that job now belongs to Pete Hegseth. Well, that was all for today's video. If you want more casual and quick explanations on different topics, make sure to subscribe to my channel. Goodbye.